It's 5:01, so we'll go ahead and do roll call. Commissioner Rutledge is running late. She's caught in the traffic coming over from the east side. Zone 2?
Yeah, you already did it.
Zone 3?
Present.
Zone 4? And the mayor's here. Start with our legislative prayer and pledge. Bow your heads, or however you respect yours in your prayers. Lord, let us approach this meeting with open minds and positive attitudes. Guide our planning and help us work together effectively. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think 71 of them. Okay, tonight we're having a workshop discussion on the CAC proposal. It was asked for the staff to present something to us, and they presented it. I guess if everybody's got their copies of it, see what they got. So, Administrator, you want to take it from here?
Yes, sir. So staff worked together, had several meetings at City Hall and here to discuss different ideas and different projects that we need to do to bring this building up to where it needs to be. And so at this time, I want to turn it over to Ms. Roxanne to do the presentation for this program.
So what we are proposing is a multifunctional three-part community facility. The intent is that it will support both community gatherings, youth engagement, and also the additional benefit will be sustainable revenue for the city. It's a three-part community asset. We have this room, which is the enlarged event space, and we envision that this would be used for weddings, receptions, or banquets, community gatherings, or weddings. This section or part of it would hold up to 80 guests, we're thinking. You would have access to the paved patio, which also has lighting, tables and chairs would be provided, as well as kitchen access. The smaller event section, which is the room that used to be the museum, could be a meeting room. It could be used for bridals or baby showers, small birthday parties, meetings, or even workshop events. You could rent each of those separately or together as a combo. So if you had a wedding, you could use this for the wedding, and maybe have that for like the brides to get dressed, or to gather together and do whatever you needed to do. And then the third space would be the team or the community engagement space, which is the garage in the back. We see that as a recreation center, community gaming area. You can use it for youth programs and activities. We're even considering a possible collaboration with the Boys and Girls Club. So there's an opportunity there also. The renovation plan, which we looked at along with Public Works, is to fully refurbish all three of those spaces, including the kitchen space in the back. That'll include a complete interior refresh, new flooring, lighter paint and finishes, which is visible in some of the pictures that are provided, upgraded kitchen facility, and landscaping outside. The kitchen would include a refrigerator, freezer, ice machine, sinks and prep areas, and a stove. We estimate that the project to do all of the refurbishing would take several months and be done by mid-June. And we're hoping that we would be able to start rentals in early July. The goal of the entire project is to position the city to have a facility that also generating revenue to support operations and programming. So if you would like, we would like to walk you through the space. We can go through the proposal that you provide and just talk through and give you more description. Walk
Wanna walk?
Alright, so this will be the space. We're envisioning lighter colored walls, if you saw in the pictures. A lighter colored wall will bring some brightness to the room. It's a little bit dark right now. Doing some sort of floor covering. We looked at sharp coating on the floor. And then cleaning out both this area and the kitchen area, opening up the space so it's more of a prep area. So that you can, if you're catering, you can have the caterer back there. If you're doing a cooking, you can do some cooking and have space back there also.
It wouldn't be a full blown like we had kitchen, just a regular electric stove underneath there, not gas. Prep areas, a couple warmers, you know, nice commercial refrigerator and all that. We don't want to go full, and remove some of that stuff, and we're gonna have companies come in, they'll actually bid on it to buy the equipment. Rather than working on that now, we'll decide to get rid of it, and then the highest bidder will get the equipment that's used, because some of them can be refurbished, they can buy the stainless. The bar area, we're gonna take out that, and one thing is we can use it, keep the bar the way it is, you know, make it with, if you have a wedding or something, you're gonna wanna have, they're gonna set up the food right here.
Right.
You know, they're gonna have reception in here. Yeah.
And still access to the.
There's still access outside the patio. It would be great for people to have weddings out there, they come here for reception. If it's raining, they can move in here if they have to. You know, we talked about getting all this done, and John talked about putting 2 big giant TVs up here, because you might have a person who want to rent on Sunday, have their services here. Take care of that, lighting up the walls and the ceilings. You know, when you sharp coating, it's a guaranteed lifetime. You do the whole building with sharp coating, it's guaranteed no more. Instead of repainting it, trying to tile, custom tile, that's the only way to go with what we're gonna do. It's made for that. One time deal, no more. Maintenance free, any problem, they come take care of it. That's nice to do all the kitchen areas.
Rick, I just have a question. Is the window still gonna be available?
Yes, the window here, they're out having a wedding, they're out having a ceremony, they can go through the window or whatever.
Alright, I just wanna know, make sure that it's not taken out.
The intent is to go around both this building out, all these areas, and make the back team center like it used to be, to give it the team program part. How do we do it? That the teams have somewhere to go and have that area there for them. So you can open the big garage door up in the evening, so the kids can come out there and enjoy it, have cornhole, have things out there for them, you know, get the parents involved. I'm sure we'll get a lot of people to help donate for that part of it, because they have kids, they want to have them out there. That would be the point of that being your community center. And then rent the rest out. If it becomes revenue neutral or revenue positive, that's great. It won't be revenue negative. That's where we're at. Revenue neutral or positive.
One more question, that's all. The hood, we're gonna keep.
King of the hood. You know, I want to get rid of that hood.
That's pretty new.
I just had service. We have a service every year. But we want that because it's still.
Yeah, perfect.
And if you ever did something different, that's costly to replace.
Gotcha.
And it still keeps your kitchen viable.
Are you changing the exterior to this picture, or is this just a picture that was?
It's just a rendering.
This is a-
We're gonna leave the exterior, just do painting stuff, you know, stuff out here and make it look better. Get the pond back working, you know, stuff like that. Do some landscaping, you know, clean up everything around here, you know, painting and all that to make it more viable. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm all looking at it. Continue the middle room.
I like the pictures of the layer.
You definitely got to fire painting, it's not making a big difference.
Yeah, we talked about,
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, the matches aren't really bad, but put in that, hand dryer stuff already. God, they got that air kicked in. Told you to get the 65 quick in here.
You don't have any problem with that.
It feels amazing.
Cold?
Yes.
It was hot back there.
Oh, yeah.
Because those air off.
Okay, any questions, comments, feedback?
Any of the commissioners got any comments or questions?
I've had one question. On the rentals, I've noticed on some of our parks, they rent for one night. They come back the next day and have a whole nother party. Is there a way that we can, like I know in some places you rent, you have to be out of there and cleaned up by a certain time. Can we incorporate a cost to have like an employee or somebody come back and make sure that'll be out by 2. They need to be cleaned up and done by 2 and they get the key back. Cause I've noticed that in Melissa Park, they'll have a whole nother party the next day. And that we're
The
giving
same
it.
people?
Yeah, well, they keep the key all weekend.
Yeah, but there could be 2 events that weekend,
No, good.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, most of the time it's not. But I'm saying,
So we've got a plan to address that a little bit. We've got, we're gonna put electronic locks on the buildings so that they get a code that times out, so they won't have access.
but they need to be cleaned up
And
before.
they need to be cleaned up, yeah.
Yeah, so make sure they incorporate clean up into their hours they're there.
Right.
Okay, cause I've seen.
Well, that's one of the
That's
things we
part
can,
of their rental,
Yeah,
is that there's, and it says in the agreement, they are to set up, clean up, and everything by the end of the night, 10 o'clock.
yeah, but the way we've been doing it in the past, they have a free day.
gotcha.
So that's what I wanted to get that on.
Just to manage, see if you manage it.
Yes, yes, that's all. That's one of the questions I have.
I do have another question also. The Lake Helen facility alcohol policy, is that something that we would have to change to adopt?
No, it's already.
That's what you proposed.
We don't allow alcohol currently at city facilities, right?
You can get commission approval, so when they put in an event application, they put in there whether they wanna have alcohol or not. They gotta get commission's approval for it.
So they'd have to pay the insurance time. But that would be a one-time thing.
To go a little further than I think it would be easier that we have a policy that as long as they meet the qualifications and if they're gonna sell beer, wine, then they have to have the insurance and the license, okay? And then if they're just gonna, say for a wedding, you're just gonna have an open bar or whatever, you're gonna give it away, then there's stipulations to that, you don't have to have a license. And as long as they follow those guidelines, then I would like to see it where it's staff approved, if possible.
I see what you're saying, in other words, John, if it's free, like in other words, if it's a wedding, you have an open bar, different story than when you're selling liquor or whatever it is, that's what you get at.
Yep.
That makes sense.
What about
Of
liability?
course, and they have to have $1 million license, liability insurance.
Liability to the city.
Yep. And the city has to be the secondary beneficiary.
Most likely it's gonna come from their food vendor or
Yeah.
their vendor that's gonna come with their
I think-
license.
Usually when they're having a big event like that, they usually cater
Yeah.
to somebody and they ask the caterer, the people ask the caterer if they do the bar, and the catering does the bar and their staff runs it and they know,
Deltona.
they go by the rules and everything that's required.
The center of Deltona has a list of approved vendors and caterers that they will allow.
Yeah.
That would be the way we would have
Yeah.
it set up.
That way we keep it the same.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that the city's not liable for any drunk driver leaving here
Right.
having a wreck.
For example, they have to shut down 1 hour before the
Yeah.
event's over. But to address it a little further, Commissioner Hampshire, was as far as, I think the commission would still vote on what requirements we want to have in place. And then, once that's approved, then it would be staff approved.
Staff.
Because it's been approved by you guys, are the rules that they have to follow.
Okay.
Commissioner, can I ask a question?
Not yet.
Kind of gets meaner, he was a nice guy before he became my guy.
How long is this meeting supposed to be?
Until 7.
I can stretch this out 2 hours if needed.
My question is.
But what, cookie, not yet. Not yet. Like Aaron said, the center, I looked up theirs when I was reading through it and looking at what you're going to charge and everything for rates. And with all the rooms and everything they had, I looked at which ones were comparable to ours. The Great Hall is the one that would be comparable to this one. That's the one that they usually do the weddings and stuff like that in. But it is 2 or 3 times longer than this is.
That's Orange City
And no, Deltona.
or Delta?
And there's one pricing for minimum of 3 hours. It's $200 an hour from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Nothing during the weekdays. There's nothing between 8 and 5 because one of the elderly organizations has activities going on in there. Friday and Sunday during the daytime, it's $150 an hour for a minimum of 3 hours, and at nighttime, $200 for a minimum of 4 hours. I mean, ours says $800 for 8 hours. Some people are only going to be here maybe 3 or 4 hours. They're not going to be here the whole 8 hours.
I have
So,
that concern also.
and then they got a refundable damage deposit of $150, which that's where city staff would need to come in after they're over and review it, see what cost of cleanup and repairs is going to be. Then you have a choice between the conference room and what do they call the other one?
Meeting room or
The
activity
meeting room, which are meeting room's probably about the size of that one. Their conference room's a little bit bigger. But theirs is minimum of 2 hours for $50 an hour, or for daytime, and minimum of 3 hours at $75 an hour for nighttime. On weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's $75 an hour for the daytime and $100 an hour for the nighttime. So if we want to adjust our pricing to be comparable to where it's more competitive and what people are looking for, we might want to break it down to an hourly rate instead of having an all-day rate.
Hawkins Hall and Melissa Park are rented by the day, so we'd have to change those too, because they get those for $400 for the entire day they get Hawkins Hall.
I mean, you get a lot of people that ask for, we want to have an award ceremony. Do you have a place that we could rent? I said, how long do you need it? And they said 2 hours. I said, ours are all day at the cost. And they turn away.
Correct.
So we're missing a lot of the short time rentals by turning people away because we do all day costs instead of by the hour.
We've also got to consider how we manage that with staff, though. There's also that consideration. That means that somebody has to be in here every time somebody leaves, that in those 2 hour or 3 hour increments. Not saying that it can't be done, but that's a consideration that we thought that would minimize the amount of staff that you would have to come back and forth checking on the room orders for that time.
Well, that's one thing the center has, is they've got a full-time staff there that's there during the event.
Right.
So I know we were talking about the teen center, about having somebody part-time to watch over the area when the teens are using it. We could hire staff part-time to be here to monitor and to clean up after they're done. And that way it gets it prepped for the next group that's coming in.
Another thing, if you're doing 8 hours, somebody's going to come in for 4 hours or something, and maybe you could break it down, and make, like it's $100 an hour, charge them $125 for 4 hours, you know what I'm saying? Just a little more, but they don't have to pay for the 8 hours.
And we discussed all these in our meetings, and it boiled down to basic staffing. I mean, that was, if that's the approach we want to take, we just want the commission to understand that there's gonna be additional costs for staff, to hire someone, to be able to work part-time to come in here, make sure and inspect and possibly clean up between events. So that was one of the things that we were trying to eliminate, cause then you kind of cut it into, your revenue or whatever.
I think they're right though, I think the all day thing is too much. Most events, bridal shower, but 2-3 hours before the most. Anything like that.
But then they wanna come in and set up, they gotta have their event, and then they gotta clean up, that's more than 4 hours.
Yeah, but typically you know that when you're renting the building, I mean, I've done it like that before, you have to come in there and make sure that you have your cleanup and setup in your time frame of what you wanna do.
Right.
And we can rent this building by the hour, doesn't mean we have to change the other buildings, just cause this one rents differently, it's fine. I mean,
You don't think they would wanna do that with Hopkins Hall too, like? have
I've
a
gone
smaller-
to award ceremony
Because
where
they used to do
they
it
rented it
half days.
for the long period of time, but the ceremony's only an hour and a half.
Right,
And
that's what I'm saying, on our rentals, I've seen it, this was before me, they did do half days at Hopkins Hall. It was offered at one point in time.
Would a reasonable compromise be that you did hourly during the week and maybe either half days or full days on the weekend? Because I feel like on the weekends is where you're gonna see your larger parties, your weddings, those type of larger events, and they would want it for more time, so you knowing that ahead of time, the weekend is the bulk rate, and then during the week, maybe we could split it up either to the 4-hour increments or 2-hour increments, something like that.
Or like you said, a 3-hour minimum with
Yeah.
an extra $100 an hour.
we need to make it more appealing to people that want to use the facilities and stuff, and that's the only way you're going to get the rental out there. You gotta make it so that it looks more appealing to the people that are wanting to rent it.
No, my thought is on the weekends, right, when you have a wedding, nobody wants a half-day wedding. Nobody's gonna come in here for 4 hours and have a wedding or a large party. They're gonna want to, so knowing that ahead of time, if the concern is that people don't have the incremental rentals, you can focus that during the weekday. On the weekends where they're going to be the large events, because more people are off, and that's when the large events are. Knowing that, then you make those the full day rentals.
Yeah, I know, we don't have a lot of rooms in the facility like the center has, because they run 4 and 5 events at a time down there because they got all them rooms. But
They also have an SRP, to address the running.
yeah, so it's something that we should look at when we advertise the rental and everything, is maybe adding in, an hour rate. And if they, I mean, even if you take the 800 and you break it down to 100 an hour, and they come in and says, well, I need to rent it for 12 hours. Okay, it's $100 an hour, $1,200. I mean, then you mark off on the sheet that it's used for those 12 hours, and so nobody else gets in there. I mean,
Another thing to
it's
look at is
makes it
business.
easier for the people to break it down to their personal needs.
What they think they need.
There's a lot of businesses that need meeting rooms, just like once a month, stuff like that. On Deland, about 2 companies just come in once a month, have their thing. So you gotta think about that too. Somebody like that, you could work with them. And, of course, we have companies, advertise, try to get companies in here, have their meetings here. That's a big part of it too.
you can work with them, but if you don't advertise it in a certain way, a lot of times they won't pass. They'll just throw it back.
They look at the advertisement and turn away. Joe, you had your hand up?
I was just gonna suggest if you did the hourly rate, just to let them know companies are in town during the week, they have a minimum rate of 2 hours, 3 hours.
That's what we just looked at.
Yeah, and then weekends, you have to go.
Yeah, you gotta have a minimum. Yeah, you gotta have a minimum.
And our pricing is pretty similar to that if you're doing 75 an hour for a 3-hour minimum. I mean, you're not far off, even if it be 4-hour on the weekends for the small room or the big room.
Yeah, we took all this into consideration when we made the prices. But yeah, we can adjust it. I just wanna make sure that everybody understands that there's gonna be associated costs.
how do we plan on marketing this once we get it all together? How are we gonna advertise it to the public and potential events?
So we'll use social media, but also, as Roxanne's been looking into, how the public can look at it through Microsoft.
Okay.
And so people can actually look at it. We could also link it to the website, so people could actually go on there and see when it's available, to schedule their events.
I know this would be a little more possibly difficult and high tech. How hard would it be to do online bookings instead of having to go
I'm
through
looking
staff?
into that.
Okay.
Even through Outlook, there's a way, it's like a separate module now we give out open access to through our website.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't look like it's expensive because we already have Microsoft licenses, so.
Okay.
And we would prefer that because it'd make it a whole lot easier on us too.
Just thinking out loud. My thinking on the whole thing after we discussed this and everything was, I've been through with this place as far as trying to rent it, do that, connections. But I'm just thinking maybe, okay, yes, you can do all this stuff, but I think you need somebody that's gonna advertise this, push it and stuff. And the way I've worked it a couple times with different associations with the county was that we paid them a percentage of what they brought in. So they were gonna push a little harder to get people in here, because just sitting here like this, and now you really get to the right people.
We even considered that as an incentive to the event coordinator, like they would get some percentage or incentive on the number of rentals that they got, so that's
You
some of
gotta
the discussion.
You gotta put somebody that's
There's some incentive.
very active,
Yes.
ready to do something, that's all.
You gotta coordinate with city events and stuff.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong, you gotta coordinate, but you need that person that's gonna push it. Believe me, I've been through this before.
No, I agree, definitely.
Yeah.
We need to promote it.
Now, we mentioned cleanup. Cleanup is gonna be done by the renter, right?
That's the expectation.
Right, I don't
Yeah,
want
same
to-
like Copley's
Yeah,
Hall.
I don't wanna burden the city staff
No.
with
Right.
cleaning up
They
after
would come in and
industrial
check,
park.
someone, either their event coordinator, the sick, or, we
Right.
would coordinate that when they get their keys,
Okay.
before they give,
Alright.
their deposit back.
Yeah, I don't wanna burden our staff
Right.
going behind nobody cleaning up, that's their job.
We agree.
If that make them pay for an extra hour, they pay for an extra hour,
Right.
you know,
I agree.
I got you, man. Okay,
The reason why I thought about, when you talked about doing a event coordinator, like Karen Weber doing that, it's an incentive for them to go out and bring people in. They get a percentage, like if it's a baby shower, they get $20, however you do it, then they're responsible for taking care of, making sure it's cleaned up, everything, that takes the staffing away from us.
Yeah.
And the more they bring in, the more they make, the more we make. You
Yeah.
know, it's a partnership between them, and that way you have staffing here all the time, and they take care of the weekends, whatever's going on, and they get a set price for each event, whatever it is. Along with what we do, they can book it online, they can advertise it, but in the end, it's kind of taking care of itself as we go, a little bit from us as we go along, is the vision.
now can we get with the city of Deland, I know they got an event coordinator. City of Deltona, if you can just communicate with them and just
Yes.
kind of get an idea,
Definitely.
how they're doing and how they're getting the message out there. And might give you some ideas, is what I'm getting at, to help you out a lot.
I've done some initial conversations with Lupin as we get further, once we get your consensus, we would.
Okay.
And there's a lot of details that we know we gotta work out, but we want to make sure that, kind of give you a proposal to where you say, this is what we want to do, and then that way we can move forward with, with all the other
We have a
details.
lot to work out for this meeting.
Right.
We didn't want to start anything until we couldn't even start something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said there's 155,000 left in ARPA
ARPA.
that needs to be used?
Yes, sir.
That could go towards modifications of this building?
So now we gotta have a time frame for that modification.
It's in that proposal.
It's in the proposal.
One of the things with the center, when the center first opened up, they had their media guy go out and they did a media presentation of all the amenities and everything that was available there, and the outside garden area, drone footage and everything. And it took about 4 years before it really started taking off and people started constantly using it. So it's gonna be a slow start, but eventually it'll pick up.
Yep. Yeah, one of Rose, he could come in, he's up to like 12 videos, or he could do up to 12 videos, so this is one of the things, projects we can utilize him for.
Gotta get it out to the
It's
people.
gonna
Because
do our
they're
thing,
gonna come in.
you can advertise that this.
Absolutely, yep.
But if it's a nice facility, word of mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, if
We
you get
get
it.
calls now on people.
We get, it's all over Facebook, somebody was just on there today, I think, they wanted to have a baby shower.
Are we just basically tonight trying to figure out if everybody's willing to spend the money to do the upgrades?
Do you agree with the plan as it's
Yeah.
If everybody
proposed,
agrees with
and
the
we
plan,
agree
then
to
at the next
yes.
meeting, we'll go ahead and
Yeah.
do the motion to approve it.
Now, the page here where you got all your prices.
Mhm.
If we redo it a little bit, try to make it look more attractive, like we
Yeah,
were
like you
talking
said,
about
by
the
the
hourly
hour.
rates and
Yes.
stuff like that, can we look at a little bit so somebody can look at it and go, well, I can't afford it, not $800, you know,
Yes.
just make it where they think a
Split it
little
up,
more,
split
split
up.
it up a little bit, so it looks
Kind of
more
like
attractive.
Roger was saying, how the Deltona does it with the center. They have Monday through Thursday pricing for
Right.
each room, 3-hour minimum, 4-hour minimum with a deposit, same thing.
Yeah, but if you look at the page, you're gonna,
Yeah.
it might turn them away.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, okay,
We can do that.
okay, that's all right.
So I'm curious about all of the negative things that are, because I think it's a beautiful idea, but I am concerned about the parking situation. Right now we have, the entry here and going into the park. So that's kind of a concern for me, thinking about, we have kids running around, we have people with dogs, and then we have all of this additional traffic for these events. And where are we gonna put that so that people aren't, in their wedding gear and hiking in from halfway across the park or something like that. So I don't know what that looks like. I know that's definitely a concern for me. And then again, with the staffing, that was one of the questions I have about, is that gonna burden our staff or is that going to fall to an events coordinator, or, how are we gonna work that out? I think you all already touched on the by the hour, we've already beat that, and then the maintenance of the building is a concern as well, because it's going to be used more frequently, so we'll need to probably up our maintenance plan for the building. So the least attractive parts of this, and I love the idea of it being a community center. I'd like to see more city events here, and I think the vision is great. Chili cook-offs and bands and this sort of thing. I mean, that's all a beautiful thing for our community, and hopefully for the youth we can have more. But logistically, I'm worried definitely about parking and staffing for it. So
I think staffing we could work out between the event coordinator and staff initially, right? So the first probably 6 to 9 months, and we'll see how it grows. And as it grows, and if we see that we need more staff, then we would
Put on another-
have a plan for that
Mhm.
as it ramps up.
We're
Okay.
hoping for a lot of volunteers too for the team center, community part of it,
Yeah, because I think if we need additional staff, it will help. I mean, the funding will be there because we're renting it.
Right,
So
right.
that's one of the things, then the parking, that's one of the things we need to go out and kind of check and see as far as, how many spots we have.
Designated parking here, have those signs popped up that is for this particular event, or for this building.
Right.
Well, none of the other venues really have that much parking either.
It's more alcohol.
Delta is
Our
about
latest one has nothing for parking really.
I'm just thinking like, okay, you have, how many people can fit in, like, what's the occupancy of this room? 80. Okay, so if you have a 75-person wedding, you have 75 potential vehicles coming. Some of them will be couples, right? But that's a lot of vehicles because you have vendors and, that sort of thing. So
We would have to
where are we
designate some
putting
specific
it?
parking for that, but we have events
That's
now.
not enough.
when it's a lot of parking.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we
just
do.
need to consider specific
Right.
reserves for these events.
So it's
and we
not,
have to-
because think about during Market in the Park, or if we have something happening in the park at the same time,
Yeah.
then, you know, it could be a conflict. So it's definitely my major concern, and then with it being in a park.
Yeah,
Well, I know when they have National Night Out, they park across the street also.
That's,
But-
that was my next thing I'm gonna mention. We have the parking across the street. We work with them a heck of a lot with this park and everything else. And I think we could talk to them and make them a deal for parking the cars right across the street. And then you have your parking lot there and the other one over there. So we had one event that we used their parking lot down in the hole too. You remember that?
Well, I mean, and a one-off is a little different than a
Yes.
consistent use, so that's definitely something to consider. I just do worry about that being our plan permanently. If they're okay with it, maybe, but we definitely need to work that
No,
out
but
with
you're
them.
right, because if you have a party,
Mhm.
say for instance, it's a wedding, and there's 75 people invited, right? And you know damn well, there ain't gonna be 75 cars out there, there'll be 100 cars out there, because people are gonna come, that know the
Could be.
people. So you see what I'm saying? So you have to overfigure for parking, no matter what.
The car show at the same day.
Well,
That's
that's
what I was
just,
thinking.
you gotta
Right.
coordinate.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
how was parking handled before when this place?
Right. So there, I mean, just you know, it's just one of the logistics of planning for this space.
Was that even considered?
How was the parking handled before when it was a restaurant and they had big events here?
They parked at the park and across the street.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's held big events before with restaurants being here. When it was the Creative Arts Cafe, they had karaoke nights.
Yeah, but again, a one-off is different than daily use or every single weekend. You know, it's just different. Then you have the park right there. It's just a concern. I think logistically, it is something we need to plan for and designate the parking spaces. We can't just say, oh, it was working. You know, it kind of just feels like an afterthought, and I want it to be part of the planning.
If you agree to the plan idea, basically, let's call it that, then we can always come back while we're working on renovations, all of that kind of stuff, with a designated parking plan,
Right,
as
right.
well as we've got to do the alcohol policy. So those will come while we are doing the work, make sure we have that before we open the doors, you would have a plan that you already agreed in.
Right, yeah, no, I didn't expect us to have all the
Consider
answers tonight, right? No, I definitely didn't expect to have all the answers tonight. And then, I did see the picture in here is absolutely gorgeous, but
It's just an image.
it's just an image, it looks a little more like an abstract concept. But, that's a beautiful idea. And it does, kind of make you think about adding
What you could
additional
do.
things,
Yes.
you know, so yeah, anyway, that's maybe putting a door. I mean, that's expensive, I'm just, anyway, since we're in the dream portion of it.
You never know, phase 2.
Yeah.
Real quick question, Rick, is there another place for the dog park we can put?
You can't park over there.
You can't, okay.
If you have sewer, yes, because that's.
Gotcha.
right.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that now.
No,
I think we can work out, I mean, when the restaurant was open, all the time, there was cars everywhere, cars
Yeah.
still being used and all that. I think we just have to designate certain areas and, you know, either mill them or whatever, leave them natural, whatever we're gonna do. Once you say this is parking here for that, and then you might have to have the police department say, hey, if somebody's there, this is for this event here. I mean, you may have, you're gonna have logistic problems anyway, a little bit here and there, but I really think we can work around them, because we've already had a restaurant here that stayed full during the time during people
Oh,
here.
it's absolutely doable, for sure. I don't think it's not doable. I just don't want it to be an afterthought. Yeah, and
Rick
Yeah.
that was part of
Rick
it.
hadn't mentioned, but believe it or not, there was no drain field out here at that time, remember Rick? You could park right out here before you put the drain field in there, remember that?
What's that? No.
We could park out here,
Before the building was built.
well, no, after the building was built, before.
No, that's always been right.
When we started the building, we didn't have that big a drain field and everything, I didn't think we did. But what I'm saying, for a short period of time, that was
I know.
I was definitely there.
Okay. If we can please raise your hand if you want to talk, Nancy.
Yeah, I wanted to confirm that, so there's estimated $70,000 for renovation, and if that is coming from the ARPA fund, the leftover monies. I just want to point out that there's a lot of things going through legislation that is most likely going to affect us very negatively in the next year, which we're going to be starting our budget for soon. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but is that $70,000 something that we should maybe wait to kind of see what happens with legislation before we move forward? Number one. Number two, $70,000 for renovations. We all know that usually it goes a little bit higher, 10 to 20% more. And is there any budget for beyond that for the furnishings? Because furnishings for something like that are expensive.
That includes
That-
most of the
that's-
furnishings, appliances, furnishings.
That included most of the furniture.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
a high estimate.
Yeah, we're thinking we're gonna come in a little.
Yeah, the 70,000 would come out of the ARPA, which is undesignated funds that we still haven't gotten rid of from the COVID era. So it's not going to have anything that's being affected by the budget. And a lot of that budget concern is going to be based on what we present to the voters on whether they want to do away with their property taxes or do away with services. So that's going to be the big issue. Give this to John. Pass this down to John.
I think he just passed it back.
And we anticipate just by the, we're gonna get most of that money back by the time budget goes on again next fall. Hopefully all of it,
Is
but,
there any plans for renovating the shopping court?
there is, yes.
That's it. There's one proposal in the meeting for next week.
It's a workshop.
It's at the agenda for the commission meeting.
Now, my question to Joey, you guys, speaking of parking again, can we kind of like Battleship Park, some of the cars out front, back on the end, just do a lot neater parking to make area, open at least this area here up more, instead of having all the cars everywhere.
Consolidate your vehicles.
Consolidate the vehicles out front.
I mean, we could, the only reason that we don't park out front is because we have a big issue, people track our vehicles. They know who's working, when they're working, and they like clock us. So one of the reasons that we ended up scattering them is that it's hard for people to keep track of how many people are on duty and who's on duty.
What about when we have events?
I mean, we could always work around whatever, we've always done.
Just to maybe clear a spot, so that you have that many more spaces.
Now, we're always team players and stuff.
Okay, all right.
And also, we could, on a big event, we could also require them to have, staff to park. But they have to provide if we want to. So we could have that area designated, and then they have to provide somebody to park. And then if it's an event that has alcohol in it, it's required that they have police on
I like that idea.
Yep.
I like that.
We're all scared, we're after hours.
Well, I know when we used to rent the army, we required, mostly we had game wardens, but they used to work without permission from the office. But they always had to be on staff, and whoever rented the building had to bail. That's the way we did it.
So you're just looking for a consensus tonight and bring it back to us in March, or next week? Yeah, this is March.
Oh, yeah,
Marching
I'm
on.
sorry.
March.
Yeah, we want a consensus that we want to move forward with this plan, but you approve the proposal and allocate the money to start this project.
I do appreciate what Ms. Weary said about the legislature
Yeah.
possibly kneecapping us when it comes to property taxes. But I think if done right, it could be a potential, this building could be a giant revenue stream for the city and make that 70,000 and then some back. If we lose property taxes, we are gonna have to do something else, and this could be a possibility, the venues and events.
I like the concept and the plan with some of the ideas that were discussed tonight, so if it's appeasable with everybody, we'll go ahead and have them put it on the agenda for approval with the updated recommendations and stuff.
I have another question before we take consensus. And I may have missed this, I'm sorry, I was late, I was coming from work and bike week, you know. But the teen engagement space is mentioned. Does that mean just like for community, or does that mean we're pulling from the Boys and Girls Club, or is this like a collaboration type thing, or what is that?
So they did reach, we have Boys and Girls representative here tonight, but they did reach out to us earlier today about possibly collaborating and doing some sort of agreement. What that looks like, we don't know. But
Okay.
if it's not with the Boys and Girls Club, it would be with the city. There is a possible opportunity to have them, you know, in that space during the week.
Okay.
You know, early parts of the day, and we use it in the afternoon. Again, we don't know the details of that. But
Okay.
which we would bring back to you once
Right,
that
right,
is worked out.
okay, perfect, thank you for clarifying that. Okay.
Could I ask a question of a vet?
So you're not buying a hover car yet?
Do you presently do any kind of teen program over at the Boys and Girls Club?
We do.
Okay.
We haven't done it for the past few months just because we just came from youth of the year. So we do have our youth of the year. We'll hopefully have to speak at one of the city commission meetings. So we do it on Fridays, typically every other Fridays, and that's where our teen population grows. And as you see, a lot of the teens that are on the playground and things of that nature, that's where we would hope to step in with the city and help with that. We also want trained and qualified people with the teens because we know
Right.
how rambunctious and fun they can be. So that is something that we'd be eager to look to expand. And those of you that pass in the area, you see that we do currently have our teens on our porch.
Right.
We just don't have enough in the building to house them, and when they do have to go in there, it's just not their separate area. And we know that teens and the elementary should be separate, that's why we have elementary and the middle school and high school, because they're just on learning paths totally different. So we do have several ideas that we'd like to do within the community in that area, and then to open it up, career development, workshop, podcast that we do with Boys and Girls Clubs, things of that nature. So we definitely do want to provide a lot of opportunities there for
How
our
many-
teens in this area.
How many teens do you presently have with the Boys at your club?
At our club, we run just about 50 on a good,
50?
on a good, yeah, on a good
Teens?
Friday. Mhm.
Wow, okay.
Now, daily attendance, because typically they want their area, right? So you don't see our full population on a regular Monday through Friday, but you're going to see our population on a teen Friday. Because teens want to go out and do something. We're here to keep them out of trouble and doing some fun, safe activities.
Do you happen to know how many of those 50 are from Lake Helen?
Not offhand, I definitely have to go into.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. What's your choice?
I say we have it added to the March agenda to review. I like the concept. I like the ideas that have been put forth tonight, some of the adjustments.
Definitely, I agree.
Sounds like it's, you got it.
Thank you.
Good.
Anything else? I don't know if they got time slots set up for Monday for everybody, but don't forget Monday is the videoing day.
Oh, yeah.
Interview day, video interview.
Heather decided.
For the media guy. All right, meeting's adjourned. There, for our initial opening for our media guy who's doing our film for the city,
Go ahead.
he's interviewing all the commissioners and stuff.
Oh, okay. I didn't
And
know.
on that day, and we got
On Monday?
If anybody didn't hear Sharon
Monday?
Don't forget, it's turn your clocks back too that day too.
Huh?
So yeah, so Monday they would be an hour early if they showed up and didn't turn the clocks back.
Oh,
You're springing ahead.
well, I just know that
Yeah, forward.
he was into all that branding stuff and
They would be
everything.
late if they don't turn their clocks back.
I'll have the other car Monday.
I know, he's got a big head, but we all do that kind of stuff.
I love your videos. Mayor, did you adjourn?
It is.
Oh, you want me to turn this on? It's off already.